Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community. There we go. Where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real-world events to share, inspire, and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You're currently watching the Sunday afternoon drawing group or painting group today with me, Jason Leeser, which is hosted every Sunday at 1 p.m. Artists, feel free to zoom in by clicking on the link in the events area. And if it's your first time zooming into a Reinventing the Tattoo drawing group, don't worry about it. It's very, very casual. It's not really anything super crazy. It's a place for people to go where they can ask questions and talk and inspire and show off maybe what they're working on or ask for some advice. You might be beaming in from YouTube or Facebook. Maybe you're listening to the podcast, but you can always get the latest event schedule and notifications at the official Reinventing the Tattoo community. Found at both app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, as well as directly through community.reinventingthetattoo.com. If this is working for you, please let us know in the comments and the chat, and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. All Reinventing the Tattoo network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars. Seriously, all of it can be enjoyed on demand and found in the library, as well as the YouTube and the podcast channels. There are countless tattoo and art rabbit holes for you to dive into. Perfect for the front room of your studio or to entertain your tattoo clients as they're getting worked on. In fact, we're beaming out 4 channels, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can always access that by going to reinventing247.com. We have some weekly staple shows that we always like to encourage people to attend. Sundays start with me, Jason Leeser, at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, of course. For the first Reinventing drawing group of the week. This is directly followed at 9 p.m. by the Tattoo Weekly Show with Lauren Gregory, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks of the Fireside Tattoo Network. Mondays at 9 a.m., we have the Early Bird Drawing Group with Kier. Followed by Mondays at 9 p.m., we have a subscribers exclusive only drawing group with Guy Aitchison himself. Once again, you'll only be able to access that if you have a subscription to Reinventing the Tattoo. And I can tell you from over a year of doing those drawing groups with Guy on Monday night, you can see a vast improvement in the work that I'm doing. But don't take it from me. Give it a shot. It's less than $1 a day. Tuesdays, we have the 10 a.m. drawing group with Ricardo Sertivant. Ricardo's a very good friend of mine, extremely talented artist and unbelievable tattooer. We like to get together Tuesday mornings and talk about philosophy and life, self-improvement, painting and drawing techniques and videos, all different types of stuff art related. Wednesdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley. Thursdays at 10 a.m., we have a subscriber exclusive drawing group with Kier. All skill levels, including apprentices, are encouraged to attend. This is going to be focusing on the fundamentals, shading simple objects, working on your filigree, things of that nature, a lot of color theory. In fact, I'm pretty sure she could talk for hours on color theory, which is great because color theory is a very important part of what we do. Thursdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker and Jordan Ruckus. We also have several real-world events coming up that we would like to encourage everyone to tune into and attend if you feel comfortable with doing that. February 5th through 6th, Reinventing the Tattoo will be live from the Red Tree Gallery and True Tube's headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. We will be having some art jams, some seminars. There's going to be a lot more information about that on the way. In fact, I think we have planning meetings today and tomorrow. So stay tuned for more information on that because that is going to be awesome. April 11th through 14th, there's the New Hampshire Inspiring Tours with Sean Barber and Nick Baxter. A very small, selective group of people are invited to actually join Sean and Nick for a I believe it's a 3-day intensive painting seminar up in New Hampshire. It's looking like it's going to be an absolutely incredible event. If there are any seats left, and I don't know that there are, but if there are, you need to sign up soon. May 20th through 22nd, we have the House City, Columbus, Ohio Tattoo Convention. Any of you that might have ever wondered what one of the premier tattoo conventions in the country is, it's Hell City. It's the creme de la creme of tattooers in the country and in the world that all attend the Hell City Columbus Tattoo Convention. You do not want to miss that. June 3rd through 5th, we have the brand new Deadly Tattoo Convention in Calgary, Canada, hosted by James Tex of Deadly Tattoos. He'll be putting on a tattoo convention that is artist-focused and art-focused. So if you know of any artists that might be interested in really going to a show where it's really all about the art and the artists, definitely want to check out the Deadly Tattoo Convention in Calgary, Canada. And you can find that at deadlytattooconvention.com. July 8th through 10th, 2022, we have the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo with a whole bunch of Reinventing the Tattoo track artists at an amazing venue, and it's super easy to get to from anywhere in the world. You're definitely going to want to take a look at that. July 29th through 31st, 2022, we have the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanek. Those of you might know Tony from his absolutely kick-ass tattoo machines. Well, he's throwing a convention. It's definitely going to be one that you should probably take a look at if you're in the area. At this point in time, I'd actually like to go through and take a quick minute to thank some of our sponsors. Let's see. There we go. Inkjet Stencils. Oh, why did that switch? Okay. Inkjet Stencils. Print stencils from your mobile computer, your tablet, your phone. Save your time, save your hands, save your apprentices' hands. They're giving out free samples. I don't know why this keeps switching, but there we go. They are giving out free samples. And if you really want to take your stencil game to a whole new level, and thus your tattoo game as well, you've got to look into Inkjet Stencils. They are an absolute game changer. Next, Interstate Ink LA. You may know Church from his awesome custom sneakers. His studio is seeking residents and guests, all clean and sober. If you are an artist in recovery looking for a supporting studio, or you know someone who needs one, please let them know on Instagram at Interstate Ink LA. It's kind of hard to see this graphic, but the next one is brought to you by Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source. Rawpigments.co. I've started to add a lot of those to my own personal lineup, and they are absolutely awesome. WorldTattooEvents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. Lots of updating as conventions are getting rescheduled like crazy. So if you want the latest and greatest, most up-to-date news on tattoo conventions around the world, take a look at worldtattooevents.com. Dermalize Pro, also known as DLize Pro in the US. Thank you for international copyright laws for making them change their name, but that's okay. Protect your art. If you're still using plastic wrap to wrap your tattoos up at the end of the session, I think it's time for a change. This stuff is designed to heal tattoos. Take a look at it. Trust me, it'll completely change the way your tattoos look. TattooNow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels. They're now accepting new clients. If you're looking to really gain a bigger presence, really reach a new group of people and really expand, your footprint, get in touch with Tattoo Now, talk to them about advertising, talk to them about their SEO packages. It is going to change your game. It is going to help you reach so many new people. It's absolutely crazy. And as always, I would like to take time to thank the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. Thank you, Guy. You are the man. You are awesome. Thank you. Don't know if I'd be here right now if it wasn't for you, actually. But take a look at guyaitchison.com or tattooeducation.com, where you can pick up copies of his Biomech Encyclopedia, his DVDs. He's got some awesome custom machines, as well as some original oil paintings, all for sale on those websites. Definitely give it a check. I was actually on there the other day and saw one or two paintings I might snag myself. So, ha ha ha. Yeah, but definitely take a look at Tattoo Education and guyaitchison.com. Also wanted to take some time to give a quick shout out to two of our affiliates, the Fireside Tattoo Network and the Apprenticeship Diaries. Fireside Tattoo Network has a wealth of tattoo information. If you are really looking to step your tattoo game up, if you're feeling stagnant in what you're doing, if you're really trying to take things to a whole new level, Fireside Tattoo Network, definitely a place you want to check out. Also, if you're an apprentice or an apprentice hopeful, take a look at the Apprenticeship Diaries hosted by Amy Nichols. I've met Amy before, and she is an unbelievably inspiring human being, very knowledgeable, and she can help get you on the right track. So let's see. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit. I may have a few people jumping in here in just a few minutes. That kind of cut off a little bit, but okay. Should have a couple of people jumping in fairly soon, hopefully. I'm going to turn the waiting room off. Cool. So we can get started today by actually going through, and I've got a couple of topics that I wanted to talk to everyone about. Working in a second medium. You've probably heard me, if this isn't your first time watching this, you've probably heard me talk a lot about working in a second medium and the importance of working in a second medium. The reason behind this is it's actually more of like a twofold reason behind it. The first reason why is because when you work in a second medium, you have the opportunity to really express everything that you want to express in a tattoo, only it's not a tattoo, if that makes any sense. It gives you the opportunity to go through and really start experimenting without having to experiment on human beings, right? And I know that there's plenty of people out there that are looking for freebies and stuff like that, that are like, oh, I don't care. I just don't have a whole lot of money. And it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, remember, it's your name out there on that tattoo. Do you really want someone walking around with something that maybe didn't turn out as well as you had thought? I don't think so. Because every time that person goes anywhere, they're going to see that tattoo and they're going to ask who did it. So remember, our name is always attached to the work that we put out there. So if you're going to experiment, if you want to try something new, do it. But don't do it in skin. Do it on paper first, or canvas, or board, or whatever, right? If you can't draw it, you shouldn't be tattooing it. That's something that a lot of people over the years have been advocating left and right. And there's a pretty good reason why. So, yeah, take your time, do it right. That's 2 cents. So that's number one. Number two is because depending on the medium that you're working in, if you're really still trying to improve your work as a tattoo artist, working in a second physical medium, and I'm not talking about digital, I'm talking analog, painting on canvas, painting on paper, working in a second medium, depending on the medium that you're working in, can be almost exactly like doing a tattoo. I myself work with liquid acrylic, liquid watercolors, um, things of that nature, markers, any type of like real aqueous or graphic media. And the reason behind that is because I will come up with a concept or a sketch or a drawing or something like that. By using that medium, I can layer just like I would if I was working with a tattoo. I can do all of my black outlines. I can do all of my black shading and then layer color right over top of it. So you're working with the same type of methodology that you would if you were doing a tattoo. Okay. So if you really want to maximize your process, if you really want to get more efficient, work in a second medium. Okay. Once again, part of the reason behind that is because it gives you the opportunity to do the things that you might want to do in skin, but maybe you don't really have that kind of confidence yet. And if you don't have that confidence yet, you shouldn't be putting that permanently onto someone's body. Once again, that's my own 2 cents. Okay. And there are probably people out there that will debate me on that, and I welcome that debate. I do. I'm all about it. You know, bring me your different ideas. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. You know, maybe I've got a different way of looking at things than you do, and that's totally fine. You know, that's completely and totally acceptable. You know, there's no, I harbor no ill will. I have no malicious intent. I don't think I've got like a mean bone in my body anywhere. I just always try to be such a nice guy, you know? You know, I do try to push people to see things in a different light, you know, if maybe they're kind of stuck in one way of seeing things, and that's okay. If they know the way that they like to see things, great. But there's always another side to it, right? So I'm just out there trying to show people that, hey, there's another way to look at things. You know, some of you might be wondering, you know, why I host this. I'm not the best tattooer in the world, but I'm willing to work hard to get there. And I still got a little ways to go. I'm not half bad, but you know, I still have a little ways to go, and I acknowledge that. But I have learned quite a few things along the way. So now, speaking of working in a second medium, I'm going to switch camera angles. I'm working on this skull painting that I started a few weeks ago. Hopefully I can get it finished before I give it to someone for Christmas. And then I get to start a second one next week. So I'll be working on 2 at the same time. So it should be pretty interesting. I always like to have multiple art projects going at the same time. So it always gives me a chance to switch gears and, you know, turn around and say, okay, it's not that I'm bored with this one, but like, I want to start working with something else as well, you know? So it gives me that opportunity. I am watching the chat boxes, by the way, so feel free to give shout outs or say hi. Let me know where you're beaming in from. You know, I always like to know if I'm reaching different people in different parts of the world. So, yeah, tell me if I'm coming through loud and clear, which I believe I am. But let's, you know, let's get some discussion going. Also, if anyone ever has any questions, by all means, please feel free to send me a message, and I'll be happy to answer those live. Geo says, ciao, what's up? Eliette says, good afternoon. Livia says, hi, hello. South Texas, what's up? What's up, Joel? Hope you're enjoying everything going on. Let me switch over to this, and then we'll throw that up there. Trying out a little bit of a different camera angle here, so bear with me. Also, I am losing my hair. I know you guys can probably tell. So if you get too much of a glare off of my bald spot, just tell me and I'll try to dim the light or something like that. So let's get rocking. So I'm a bit weird when it comes down to painting. I always like to rest my hand on something. I find it gives me a little bit better control. Um, so instead of going out and spending 15 to 20 bucks on one of those like mall sticks, I think it's spelled MAHL or something like that. I just made one out of some Scentsy wrap, a few paper towels, and a piece of wooden dowel rod. So, and it works pretty well because I can always, take this off and put it on something longer if I really need to stand back, and I've got a really super long handle brush. I can really sit back like this. Kind of funny, you know. It's always good though to take a few steps back every now and then and take a look at what you're painting or what you're drawing from a distance. Always remember that. And let's see if I can get a better camera angle here. Cool. And I don't know how well anyone can see it. Let me see if I can zoom in. So I did go through and I was looking at a few different skull references. You might be able to see some pale blue in there. That's from a colored pencil. I like to use an oil base or a wax based colored pencil once I have my tones blocked in to go through and really start defining some shapes. And this is totally dry, by the way. It's been drying all week. And usually whenever I paint with oils, I can get them to dry in like a day or two. And that's all because of the gel medium that I use. It really speeds up the drying time like super fast. So you might see some like light blue in here. Don't know if you can really see it too well, but I've got a little spot of it down here by this tooth. I've got a little bit in here in the pit of the nose, this cheekbone area inside these eye sockets. And those are all little areas that I really want to define a little bit more and really kind of go through and add a bit more texture, a bit more ambient light, if you will. So I'm going to be working on that a little bit more today. And once again, I'm trying to treat this like it was a tattoo. So I'm trying to work with, a lot of kind of, imagining this is like my first pass of a tattoo. I'm going to go through and just start blocking a lot of things in. Even though I already have a lot of it blocked in, I'm just going to start to refine it now. So if what was done here was my first pass, this is going to be me working on that second pass, going through and really trying to like tease out a lot of those details and just building up my darks. Whenever I tattoo, I like to do the same kind of thing. I'll always start out with like a mid-tone for where my dark areas are. So instead of going through and just blasting a solid black, if I'm working on a bigger multi-session piece, I'll actually go through and do a mid-tone first. Because remember, you can always go darker. You can always add more black, but you can never take it away. Right? So in order for me to go through and really, really define those black areas, what I like to do is go through and start out with a mid-tone. And then usually on the second or possibly even third pass, I like to go through and really, really push that and really make it so that all of those tiny little subtle intricacies are nice and super dark. This allows me to really push a full value range and really get a lot of nice little subtleties. Now, some of you out there that might do one-shot tattoos, just bang it out, get it done and move on. That's great. You don't exactly have the opportunity to go through and start out with a mid-tone and then push darker. I mean, you do, but you really got to watch out for the amount of trauma that you might cause to the skin. So just play it safe as far as that goes. But I always try to start out with like a mid-tone first, just to lay that in there. Let me switch over to something a little bit smaller so that I can go through and really start defining a bit more. Let's see. So let's go with, got that blocked in. Go with a little bit of Payne's Gray. Mix in some of my gel medium. A little bit of black. A little bit more gel medium. Now I really want to try to push and define this edge of this tooth. Really kind of square that off because molars are not rounded. Also would like to give a very big thank you and a very big hi, hello, how's it going to James Tex up in Canada. James, you are an inspiration as always. And I'm really looking forward to the Deadly Tattoo Convention coming up in June. There is going to be one hell of a lineup for that, by the way. They're going to have seminars and everything. I mean, it's a little bit of a hike for a lot of people, but you know, if you like that kind of more illustrative graphic style, definitely a convention worth checking out, because there are already a lineup of absolutely incredible tattooers. Would also like to give a very big thank you to the Explorer Tattoo Conference. And if you guys don't know about the Explorer Tattoo Conference, that is going to be in Philadelphia this year at the end of end of February, beginning of March. I think it's like the first few days of March, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And they have one hell of a lineup. Teresa Sharp, Bill Canales from San Diego, who's one of my personal heroes. Mike Chambers is going to be there. It's going to be a heck of a show. It's more education based than it is convention based, right? So at the Explorer Conference, there's not a whole lot of tattooing going on, if any. I've never really been to it, but I've watched some of the replays, and it's enlightening to say the least. So any of you out there that are looking to push yourselves a little bit further, do a little bit better, work a little bit harder at, you know, creating better art and thus better tattoos, highly recommend taking a look at the Explorer Tattoo Conference as well. It's quite enlightening from what I understand. So let's see what's next. Let's go through and we're going to start fanning some of this dark black area out. You know, part of the reason why I think I've strayed away from oil paints for so long is just because they take a long time to dry, but I also like very, very smooth blends. I like very smooth gradients. And I find that a lot of times I can achieve those a lot easier with something like a liquid acrylic or a watercolor, as opposed to oil paint. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that do, you know, some of the most incredible, unbelievable, silky smooth gradients using oils. I just have not mastered that. I haven't gotten to that point. So I usually try to default back to liquid acrylics or oils, or liquid acrylics or liquid watercolors, sorry. But if you never push yourself to try new stuff, you'll never know what you're missing out on. So I always like to play around with different mediums every now and then and just see if I can get them to do what I'm really trying to do. Just doing like a little light glaze over here. Let's see. And then I wanted to go through. Let's push that dark. Yeah, the part of the lineup for the Deadly Tattoo Convention, from what I've seen on their website so far, are going to be some personal heroes of mine, such as Steve Moore, whose color work is just on a whole new level. I mean, this guy has literally mastered color theory and art. He's absolutely incredible. James Tex, obviously, I love his graphic style. I think Chris Dunn's going to be there, which is pretty cool because I'm hopefully getting tattooed by him in March. A whole bunch of other people. I'm sure Anthony Tex will be there. A couple other guys from the Canadian region. Really, really, really looking forward to it, though. It's going to be one heck of a show. Finally be able to get up there and meet some of the Canadian tattooers that have really inspired me. That's another thing I can't stress enough is go through, find the people that you really admire, go and get tattooed by them. And some people might hesitate on that. Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, it's, you might sit back and be like, well, why should I do that? That's a lot of money I don't have. And it's like, well, save for it. Work your ass off, save up for it. And then not only is it like a little reward to yourself, but it can really, really be an eye-opening experience and really give you some insight as far as new ways of doing things. So I always try to tell people, when in doubt, if you're ever feeling stuck, go and get tattooed by someone new. Not necessarily someone that you've been tattooed by 100 times. Go and find your hero, or the person whose work you really want to tattoo like, and go and get tattooed by them and watch their entire process. Reach out to them, ask them, say, hey, listen, do you mind if I stop by maybe a day or two before my appointment and just watch your whole process of, drawing or coming up with your ideas and how do you do this and how do you do that? You would be absolutely floored at the response you will get if you just reach out to an artist beforehand and just ask them, hey, do you mind if I stop by, a couple of days before my appointment and just watch you work, ask you some questions? I can name 3 or 4 different tattooers right off the bat that I've gotten the opportunity to really watch firsthand and get tattooed by. And it's just a religious experience. It really is, because you get to see their process from start to finish. And that's something that, a lot of people out there might not realize that, as much as tattooing is art, it's also very much process oriented. And every artist out there has their own specific way that they like to do things. Some people, like my friend Rich, he is analog all the way. He goes through and he draws everything by hand. Doesn't matter how many versions there are or how many versions he needs to draw. Everything is drawn by hand for every appointment, which I think is just incredible, right? Sometimes he does have to, draw some stuff on, but he's just an insanely efficient tattooer. He makes those decisions well in advance. of ever laying needle to skin. And that, I believe, personal opinion here, I believe that is what really, really helps push his efficiency. And I've noticed that with one or two other people as well. So, not necessarily the fact that they work analog, but the fact that they are making the decisions and they are pushing the bounds of what they are doing well in advance of ever, sitting down with the individual client. They'll take the idea, they'll take the inspiration, they'll take the elements that the client wants to get done, and they'll turn around and say, okay, well, this is all of your elements. This is the composition I think will work the best. Boom, here you go. And that, all of the issues, all of the complexities, all of the nuances, they've all been worked out well in advance. So all they have to do at that point in time is run a stencil, sit down, and tattoo it. Right? That to me is efficiency. That is the ultimate inefficiency, when you can turn around and say, hey, don't worry, everything's drawn up. We are good to go. Let's get you tattooed. Right? Because that's going to maximize your time in the chair, your time tattooing. And it's going to maximize the amount of work you can get done in one day if you do more than one tattoo a day. Some people don't, and that's cool. If that's what you do, then hey, that's awesome. But if you're like me and you try to get in, 2 to 3 people a day, maximize your efficiency. Have everything drawn up. Why mess around? It's not like you would go into a car dealership and say, hey, I want to buy this car, and then have them turn around and say, okay, give us a few minutes. We need to assemble it for you. Right? That's not the way things work. If you're trying to do something like that, and if you're really trying to maximize your efficiency, which, I mean, come on, let's all face it. The name of the game in this industry is efficiency. At least that's my 2 cents. The more efficient you are at doing something, the more profitable it becomes. Look at Picasso. A tiny little sketch from Picasso, if you were to have commissioned him for a sketch, probably run you 10 to 15 grand, because it took him so many years to become that proficient at what he does. But that's just my 2 cents, by the way. Everyone's got their own opinion on things, and I would love to hear them. Also, if you haven't told me where you're beaming in from, please do so. Always like to see where people are coming from, and what the philosophies in that general area are. Also, if you have any ideas of people you would like to see interviewed, to learn about their process, to learn about how they do what they do, by all means, please feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to reach out to people and, see if we can't get them on for a live interview to take a look and examine their process. Otherwise, I'm here to answer questions, and I'm obviously not going to sit here, radio silence the whole time, but if anyone has any input or anything they would like discussed, I'm all about it. Let's take a minute and think about some things. Speaking of which, I should probably check this. Okay. Sorry about the delay, folks. Okay, so I really wanted to push that and define that. Getting some of these nice soft subtleties in there is where using a much softer brush can come in handy. Normally, I'm not a big fan of softer brushes with thicker media, but I have found with this piece that it's quite handy. A little bit more dark, a little bit more gel medium. Any of you out there that might be used to working with liquid acrylics, using this gel medium is kind of like putting down your water before you add paint. And I know you can't really get the best view of that. So let me see if I can alter my hand angle. You know, you put a little bit of gel medium down and then add a little bit of paint next to it. And it just kind of, it doesn't really bleed like water does or liquid acrylic, but it does have a very similar kind of effect. Just a nice little glaze over top of that. However, I will say it is one of the things that I really do love about working with oils is that you can glaze and glaze and layer and layer and layer and layer and layer. Not that I think our clients out there have the patience for something like that, but you know, it is always something nice. You know, when we do have a client that's like, yeah, whatever, take your time, do it right. You know, I'll pay whatever. It's awesome. It's what I love to hear. You know, I think working within your client's budget is also very important. You know, if you know for a fact that they've got a very specific budget in mind, you know, obviously you have to try to work within those limits and within those bounds. But you know, every now and then in this career, you get someone that comes in that says, yeah, whatever, I want you to do your thing. I'll pay you whatever you want because I value your work as an artist and I love what you do. You know, and it's those times that make everything worthwhile. At least in my opinion. That's my 2 cents. Nathan Wright said, I want lessons. Lessons in what? Lessons in how to tattoo? Lessons in painting? I mean, you're going to have to be very specific because I have a number of things I want lessons in too. So, I mean, what is it that you would want lessons in, Nathan? That's the way. Uh-huh, uh-huh. I like it. I could use a little bit of a softer blend. Tap this guy off. Thank you very much. The last yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I've had to overcome in my tattoo career is number one, confidence, because we're being an artist, we're always self-conscious, until we get to a point that we've developed that inner confidence to go through and turn around to someone and say, yes, I know what I'm doing, but it generally speaking takes a while for us to get there. And time, right? Time estimation, time management, and I always try to, talk to people and let them know like, hey, listen, I'm pretty good at estimating how long something is going to take, but maybe I'm off a little bit. If I am, I'm sorry, but you know, typically speaking, when you give someone a price quote, you give someone a price quote and that's the price. If it's hourly and you just tell them you're going to take it hourly, well, then go for it. Some people really prefer that. Um, some people don't like that because they're like, well, what's your estimate, right? How long do you think it's going to take? That can be where tricky situations come in hand, right? Because, if you're not very confident in how long something is going to take you, then that's definitely got to be something you need to work on. And I think that's something that I personally struggled with for a very long time. And every now and then in this day and age, every now and then, I'm not exactly accurate, but I'm usually pretty good at estimating just how long something is going to take, on a realistic scale and not an idealistic scale. And I think that's another place that people will often get things confused is they'll go through and think idealistically, like ideally I'd like to have it done in this amount of time, but realistically it's probably going to take quite a bit longer than what their idealistic estimates are. If that makes any sense. And we'll bring some of this warm white down. I never really like to use straight color, unless the painting or the image or even the tattoo for matter, um, really requires a pure tone. I always like to mix things, um, but still keeping my brighter colors, my brighter tints, um, bit the warmer side, and then keeping my tones and my shades a bit more on the cooler side to really help utilize a lot of color temperature variation. You know, nothing super bold, but you know, sometimes it can just give you that little bit of oomph that you need. Like this little bit of a warm gray I'm blending in here. That warm gray really helps really helps this part stand out more next to this cool darker gray. You know, because as some of you might have realized, warm tones come forward, cool tones move backwards. You know, but that's where you can get into like issues, because what is a cool or a warm tone, right? Sometimes there are tones out there that kind of violate, you know, the standard accepted principle of what is a warm and a cool tone. You know, for example, teal can be considered a warmer bluish tone, you know? And if teal is considered a warmer bluish tone, are there cooler warm tones, right? Think of like a very bright, like yellowish with like just a touch of green, right? That could be considered a cooler warm tone, or an alizarin crimson tone over a cadmium red, you know, if that makes any sense. Think of plum over plum. Like if you use eternal colors, I don't, but it's a very good analogy. Think plum red over light red. Light red generally tends to have a little bit more of an orange hue to it. You know, whereas plum is a very, not necessarily dark, but definitely a cooler red tone. Cool. And I am going to be going in just a few minutes. So this is the last opportunity for anyone out there. If you have any questions at all, by all means, please feel free to ask. If you don't, that's okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace. You know, but that is part of the reason why we're here, why we do these drawing groups. It's to answer questions, to provide insight, to help resolve some issues, to help, you know, discuss what's going on in your world. So if you ever have any topics to discuss, if you have anything maybe you're debating ethically or morally, or if you would like any opinions about anything, please let us know. You know, that is part of what we do. That's part of why we do these things. You know, and I'm not saying I'm like the world's best guide to ethics, but you know, maybe I can help provide some insight. I've been told apparently I'm pretty good at providing insight, so. I really hope it doesn't rain today. Oh. Well, looks like my guests weren't able to sign on today. I'm not sure what happened there, but who knows? Maybe they will be joining me next week. Would also like to give a very special shout out to Brooke Trigger down in Newcastle, Australia. Brooke, if you're listening, hey, what's up? Um, Brooke is the first person in my life to ever buy a print off of me, and I've stayed in touch. She is one hell of a tattoo artist. She's a little bit more on the green side, but that's okay. You know, we weren't all born veteran tattooers. You know, we all have to start somewhere. She's been doing it for a little bit, but she's one hell of a tattooer. I'll definitely say that. In fact, I can't wait to get a piece done by her as soon as I can get my ass out to Australia. Her Instagram handle is BT Tattoos. She works at a tattoo studio out in Newcastle, Australia. And I believe it's called Golden Monkey, but I could be wrong. But yeah, go check out her work. Give her a follow if you're in the country of Australia. Probably hit that with another glaze later. That's good. And let's take that down a notch. So that's going to require just another little bit of a glaze of dark. And some ultramarine. And a hair of white. Ultramarine is like the most bomb ass color to mix with black. Very, very cool blue tone. And I want to thin this out a little bit more with a little bit more gel medium. So I just want to do a light glaze. Very, very light, thin, transparent glaze. Okay, maybe a little bit more here. And we will blot our brush off. And some more gel medium just to blend. And there we have it. Get a little bit darker towards the back. And we let that dry. Wonderful. And I think that is going to do it for today. You give everyone a quick little sign off before I clean up and go outside and take care of the leaves that need to be done. So I'd like to take a minute to thank everyone that tuned in today. I know today was a much shorter session than what I normally do, but unfortunately I'm working based off of Mother Nature's weather patterns. So thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. If anyone ever wants to get in touch with me about potential topics to discuss, has any questions, comments, or concerns, please, by all means, feel free to send me a message on Instagram at Philly Inc. Also, if you liked today's episode, if you have any issues, or if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, feel free to like and subscribe. We're really trying to put the message out there so we can deliver better stuff to you. So thank you for tuning in. Take care. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, and cheers.